What's up, guys? I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Nevermore Gaming, and we're taking a look at the prototype for Reavers of Midgard on Kickstarter
Now.
right now. Like I said, this is the prototype for this game, so none of this is final.
This game combines the greatness of Champions of Midgard and one of my favorite aspects of Tiny Epic Galaxies. Specifically, the follow action in that game, if you've ever played it, is like one of my favorite things. You're like, okay, I'm going to take this action, and then every other player has an opportunity to follow you by spending things. Mm-hmm. This game, you are going about, collecting and getting new people to fight with you, and you're going out and just raiding and pillaging and conquering. But every time you do something, everybody is automatically in that challenge with you. There's a couple of them, they actually have to pay resources. If they can't, then they have to prepare for the next one, so they kind of deuce it out. But it's that whole, I'm doing this action, everybody else gets to do it too. So on your turn in a 4-player game, you take one action. So the round seems like it's like not that much.
You choose one action. You always take 4 actions, but you only get to choose one of them.
Yes, exactly. So on your turn, you're like, I'm going to take this action. That's my turn. But that's not it. There's a lot more going on than that. So once you get it, once you understand all these territories that you're going to, it's a quick game.
Every person, you go in turn order, and I choose what action I'm going to take, and then everybody at the table is going to also take that action, and you get incentives for going earlier in the turn order. Not only you have more things to choose from, but typically the earlier you go, the more things you get to do there. Like, the first player will get to do 3 things there, and then get to draw 2 cards, and the second player will get to do 2 things there and draw 1 card, and so on and things like that. And then once that whole turn of players is over, it goes to the next player. They're the active player. They choose where we're all going, and we can choose to participate or not. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting because it's worker placement, but you only get to make one choice per round, which really I don't know if I've seen it anywhere quite like that. Tiny Epic Kingdoms was kind of like that, where you would choose what everyone's doing for that round. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's a lot like that, but there's a lot more incentives to being the first player and being the one to choose to go there.
Yeah, I think the trading one is the one that the trading territory is the one that shows that the most. Whoever chooses that action gets the 3 choices. So actually, they kind of get 4 things. They get the first player token, so they'll be first in the next round, and then they get 3 choices of either getting meat, dice, or these
prophecy cards.
Yeah, prophecy cards, which are just more endgame scoring. So you have a lot of choices here. You could just take all 6 of these dice if you need them. You have to keep them on the face they're on, but that's really, advantageous if you need them. Just be like, I'm going here. Those are all 3 of my choices. Now everybody else is stuck with other things.
That is one thing I think is very different than Champions of Midgard. I know a lot of people are going to compare the 2 of them and say, I already have Champions, I love it, do I need this one? Or I have Champions, I love it, so I have to have it. Whichever boat you're in, one of the things that's really different about this one is the dice. I feel in Champions of Midgard, you're constantly rolling your dice, and it's like you never really know what's going to happen. You could go somewhere and say, okay, I'm going to roll all these dice and hope for the best, and you could roll blanks. This game is almost the opposite. You roll, almost always you're going to roll all your dice as soon as you get them, and then they're locked onto that face. And there's of course things you can get to change the dice face or re-roll them or all things like that. But pretty much when you're going somewhere, you already know what those dice are on, and so I can definitely do that thing because I have these dice already.
They definitely took a lot of the randomness of dice rolling out of this game. You can look at somewhere and determine whether or not you can beat it right away. You know that you need a boat die, a hammer die, and the little blue guy, the little
blue
eagle.
Tribal symbol.
Yeah, the blue tribal symbol. So you need that one. If you have all 3 of those dice, you know that you can just spend those 3 dice, defeat the ship, get the glory, and get the meat that it provides. Or if you just want to go gung-ho battle style, it has a defense of 4. For every hammer you spend, you get a battle die. And that's where it comes back to the kind of like Champions of Midgard, where now I'm kind of gambling. I can, say I spent 2 hammers. I'm like, okay, I'm going to roll these dice. Okay, I got 2 hits. Cool. Or I can, spend the horns, the honor, the glory, honor. You just spend these things, giving up victory points for rerolls. It's worth it. You get more hits. It's nice that it kind of caters to both avenues of the dice rolling.
It's kind of a point salad out there, and it's figuring out what's the best way to use your resources and your dice to get those points. I think the biggest point swings are probably in the sea battles. You've got your 13 and your 15 points out there if you can accomplish those. And like if we go there and like if I'm going first, I'm able to choose the ship. If I'm going last, there may be all the ship, like only one ship left, and I hope I have the dice left to do it. And then you've got like your different levels of pillages. So you can go pillage a village, or you can pillage a keep. And obviously, pillaging a keep is going to be harder than pillaging a village, but the rewards are going to be greater. And then even in that, like in the keeps, there's like some set collecting where you can try to go for like the armor or the other artifacts. The different treasures that the keeps have, and the more you get, the more they're each worth. But the villages give you your like artifacts that you can attach to your ship that give you bonus abilities.
So the next big change in the Midgard series here is the conquering of the territories. These are another thing that you can try and either dice roll and battle them, or you can just kind of conquer them by like trading with them, I guess. Like the ones with the meat, you can give them meat and then they become one of your territories, or you can just try and conquer them and battle them. Either way, once you do conquer them, you get random thing on the back. It could be glory, it could be more dice.
It could be cards, or it could be a village. There's all kinds of things on these.
And then this territory now gets locked in next to you, and it just shows how many territories you've conquered, and you're building up this empire, and at the end of every round, every one of those is worth another glory point to you. So it can really add up if you're able to lock down a bunch of territories.
Another callback to the original Champions in Midgard is when you do go do your sea battles, you actually do have to see what happened on your journey, which is very similar when you go down to the bottom of the board and fight those monsters down there, except for there's no like trying to see the future or see what's coming. It's each person that goes in a sea battle is going to draw a card, and sometimes all is quiet. Sometimes a kraken attacks. Sometimes your food gets spoiled. So there is like it was kind of a nice fun little callback to me of like, oh yeah, I remember when we would do sea battles in that last game, this would happen. So well, it's a very, very different game. There are definitely callbacks to Champions of Midgard and enough little things to make you like not just like, okay, well technically it's a sequel, it's in the same universe, but a lot of things that make you like, oh yeah, I remember from that last game we used to play.
Every time I look at this board, I'm just like filled with this like excitement because it's so vibrant and so colorful, and so like there's so much going on. Like it kind of can be overwhelming. There's like every space on this board is taken up with either a place to put cards or iconography or just artwork of ships and pillaging and lots of buildings. Like it's very full and very awesome, and that's why if you really like this artwork, you should get the mat.
I will say that it's not a game, like I know like one of Tom's complaints with Feudum was that the artwork was so strong that it was hard to figure out what was going on. But with this game, it's not like that because there's not that much printed on the board other than just the cost and iconography of each location, which is very clearly marked out. Everything else is cards on the board. So while it is a very vibrant and colorful board and the artwork is really strong on it, I don't feel at all like I got lost in the board. Like everything is very segregated out to say this is very obviously this location, this is very obviously this location, and it's easy to see like what's part of that and what your options are there while still maintaining really exciting artwork.
Yeah. Even like with the different raiding places that you can go, like these two cards are linked together, so they have like this like chain link looking stuff between it.
Almost like Celtic knots.
Yeah, something like that. But it like doesn't take away from anything by being there, but it's not like super in your face either. Like it fits.
I will say I really liked that the places where you got to pick two cards, even like with the Reavers being like stacked on top of each other, like going somewhere and getting to pick two cards, you don't just get to pick two cards from the 8 available, however many are there. You actually have to pick sets of cards. You can pick, I really want this card and I really want this card. I don't get to take those 2 cards unless I get 2 actions there, in which I take this column of cards and this column of cards. So that does help add a little bit of like the tougher decisions, and like you have to really think about what's worth it, which one do I want more, and then how can you're going to end up with some cards where you're like, well, I mean, no cards are bad. It's not like, well, I'm stuck with this now, but like you get to think about like, okay, well, I have this card. What's the best thing I can do with it now that I have this? Is there anything new that I want to try to get?
This game is not just a clone of Champions of Midgard. It's definitely its own unique game. I would say it's a little heavier for sure.
Definitely heavier.
But not like off the charts heavy. If you could handle Champions and like you've got that game down and you're ready for your next game, here you go.
Absolutely.
Like it's just calling for you. There's definitely more decisions and like tougher decisions, like but very balanced.
There's more strategy in this game. Again, with Champions being kind of a dice chucker at some points. Like a lot of times you could just like go for it and hope for the best, and if it didn't work out, you're like, oh well, I threw my dice and they didn't land on what I want. I'm frustrated, but like that's the name of the game. In this game, because your dice are locked in, you know very much going into it. I do think that the following mechanic is very thematic with like thinking about Vikings, and that like we're from different villages. Like I'm the Jarl of one village and he's the Jarl from another village, and we're sailing together. We're competing with each other because I want to be stronger, but we also know that we have to like join together to go attack this village. And like I don't actually know enough about Viking mythology, or I guess it's just history, to know if that's how it worked. But in my mind, that's how it would work. We'd be like, we're fighting, but we're going to join together and go kill those guys to see if we can fight each other better now.
So if you can't tell, Wes and I really like this game. It's a lot of fun. We've enjoyed it every time we got to the table. I can't wait to see the final production. Neverboard Gaming highly recommends this game.
I was really excited to see that it wasn't just a clone of Champions of Midgard, and that it was even like a sequel, not just in story, but also in like complexity. Like I definitely agree with Aaron. If you've got Champions of Midgard down, you can handle this game. It is a step above, so make sure you're prepared for that. But it's exciting to see that like even like, as we're growing, the games are growing with us. It's like the Harry Potter books. You should back Reavers of Midgard, which is why we're going to have a link in the description box down below or a card popping up. Click on either one of those and head on over to the campaign page. You're probably already there, and that's why you're watching this video, which means you've probably already backed this game and are just looking for confirmation, and this is that.
Either way, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. So, I'm sorry for wasting you guys' time. Obviously, you've already backed it, and you were just waiting for confirmation that you made a good choice. Good job. Keep backing it.
If you were looking for a playthrough video, this is not that video.